Welcome to this discussion about sustainable energy versus jitters. Many of us rely on pre workout supplements, but we seldom question what's actually powering our workouts. Is it a sustainable energy source that supports endurance and focus, or is it just a jolt that leaves us shaky? In this presentation, I'll explore the difference between those two experiences. We'll look at how feelings of hype and tingles are not the same as true muscular energy. We'll examine how stimulants create a buzz and why this state can mislead us. By the end, you'll know how to recognize and choose ingredients that provide real power without the crash. Now let's dive into the agenda so you know what to expect next. Here's how we'll move through this topic. First, we'll look at what people call energy and why that sensation often comes from nervous system stimulation rather than actual fuel. Next, we'll examine what jitters really are, including the biochemical causes behind sweaty palms and racing hearts. Then we'll talk about stimulant-driven energy, how caffeine and other compounds create that buzz, and why tolerance builds quickly. After that, we'll explore what sustainable energy truly means by looking at blood flow, oxygen delivery, ATP production, and hydration. We'll compare common ingredients side by side, debunk the myth that jitters equal better performance, learn how to identify clean energy in a supplement label, and finish with practical tips and a conclusion. We often hear people say they feel energized because their skin is tingling, they're sweating, or their heart is racing. That sensation is exciting, but it doesn't reflect how much energy your muscles actually have to do work. In reality, the short-term buzz you get from a stimulant can mask underlying fatigue. It tricks your brain into thinking you're ready to perform, even if you haven't fueled properly. When you rely on that adrenaline rush alone, you may push harder than your body can sustain, leading to a crash mid-session. In this section, we're going to reframe the idea of energy so you understand the difference between physiological power and simple nervous system stimulation, and why that distinction matters for long-term progress. What we call jitters are really a cascade of stress responses in your body. When you overload the central nervous system with stimulants, adrenaline, and cortisol surge, these hormones prepare you for a fight-or-flight situation, which includes a faster heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and anxious thoughts. Rapid swings in blood sugar can make you shaky and sweaty as your body tries to maintain homeostasis. While a small dose can enhance alertness, overstimulation often leads to distraction and panic, degrading your technique and focus. Understanding these biological responses helps us appreciate why chasing the jittery sensation is not synonymous with improved performance, and sets the stage for exploring healthier ways to power your workout. Caffeine is the most common stimulant found in pre-workouts, and it works by blocking adenosine receptors. Adenosine acts like a brake on your brain's neurons, so when you inhibit it, neural activity and alertness increase. This shift raises levels of dopamine and other neurotransmitters, making you feel focused and even euphoric. These effects begin about 30 to 60 minutes after ingestion and generally last for 3 to 5 hours. The downside is that your body adapts. Regular caffeine intake prompts your cells to create more adenosine receptors, which means you need higher doses to achieve the same effect. In this section, we'll unpack how these mechanisms create a temporary lift, but also pave the way for tolerance. Tolerance to caffeine develops quickly. Studies have shown that regular use diminishes its effects on blood pressure, exercise performance, and mental alertness. After just a few days of consuming around 100 milligrams daily, your body starts producing more adenosine receptors, so the stimulant feels less potent. Dependence can follow close behind. Your brain becomes accustomed to the elevated neurotransmitter levels, so stopping caffeine leads to withdrawal symptoms like sleepiness, headaches, and trouble concentrating, which typically peak within 24 to 48 hours. Recognizing how rapidly tolerance and dependence build helps us understand why many athletes need more caffeine to feel a similar buzz, and why those crashes are so unpleasant. Because tolerance builds quickly, it makes sense to periodically take a break from stimulants. Research suggests tolerance to caffeine rises after about 14 days of continuous use. To reset your sensitivity, you can stop taking stimulants entirely for 2 to 4 weeks or switch to formulas that rely on pumps and focus ingredients instead of caffeine. Non-stimulant pre-workouts can provide nitric oxide support and cognitive clarity without overtaxing your adenosine receptors. It's also worth remembering that pre-workouts are optional tools. Prioritize balanced nutrition, hydration, and sufficient sleep first. Supplements should complement, not replace, these foundational elements. Now let's talk about what actually fuels a workout over the long haul. Sustainable energy. Your muscles contract because they receive oxygen-rich blood and convert carbohydrates and fats into ATP, the molecule that powers every cell. This process is supported by adequate hydration and electrolyte balance, which help maintain nerve and muscle function. Neuromuscular efficiency, or the ability to recruit the right muscle fibers at the right time, comes from practice and proper training. Equally important is mental clarity. A calm, focused mind helps you execute movements precisely and pace yourself. Sustainable energy, then, is a combination of physiology, nutrition, and mindset. It doesn't come in the form of a thrill, but a steady supply of power. Next, we'll look at specific ingredients that support this. One of the most effective ingredients for enhancing blood flow is L-citrulline. Once ingested, L-citrulline is converted in your body to L-arginine, which then stimulates nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide relaxes and dilates blood vessels, enabling more oxygen and nutrients to reach your working muscles while simultaneously clearing metabolic waste. The result is improved endurance and a noticeable pump without the jittery feeling associated with stimulants. L-citrulline supports endurance and recovery across multiple studies and is generally taken in doses around 6 to 8 grams. It works synergistically with other sustainable ingredients by facilitating the delivery of what your muscles need to perform. Citrulline malate is a combination of L-citrulline and malic acid, an intermediate in the Krebs cycle, the process by which your body generates ATP. Some research suggests that combining citrulline with malic acid may enhance nitric oxide production while simultaneously supporting ATP availability. This could translate into better muscle endurance and delayed fatigue during high-intensity efforts. However, the evidence is mixed and inconsistent. Pure L-citrulline tends to offer more predictable nitric oxide support in studies, so if you have to choose, lean towards L-citrulline at clinically effective doses. Still, understanding citrulline malate helps you evaluate formulas and select what aligns with your goals. Electrolytes are mineral ions like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium that carry an electric charge and help maintain fluid balance through osmosis. They also play a critical role in preserving the proper pH inside your cells and supporting nerve signaling and muscle contractions. During exercise, especially in hot conditions or long endurance sessions, you lose electrolytes in sweat. Severe imbalances can lead to fatigue, weakness, or muscle cramps. Most people who eat a balanced diet get enough electrolytes, but endurance athletes or those exercising in extreme conditions may need targeted replenishment. Understanding how electrolytes function helps you decide when additional supplementation is necessary and underscores the importance of hydration for steady energy. This slide presents a comparison between ingredients that produce quick, stimulant-driven energy and those that support sustainable performance. On one side, you might see compounds like high doses of caffeine, yohimbine, or synephrine, which provide an immediate jolt by blocking adenosine or stimulating the nervous system. On the other side are ingredients like L-citrulline, beta-alanine, creatine, and betaine, which focus on blood flow, buffering lactic acid, replenishing phosphocreatine, or improving cellular hydration. The point of this comparison is not to vilify stimulants. Moderate caffeine can be useful, but to highlight that they cannot replace the foundational support your body needs to produce real energy. Understanding this difference will help you choose a formula that aligns with your goals. In gym culture, there's a misconception that a shaky, sweaty body indicates a more effective workout. That feeling may stem from the sensation of tingles or a racing heart, but it doesn't correlate with actual strength or power output. In fact, excessive stimulation can distract you and degrade your technique. Controlled intensity, where you feel in command of your movements and breathing, typically yields better results. Chasing jitters may also mask underlying fatigue. You might think you're pushing harder, but you could be ignoring signals that you need rest or better nutrition. It's important to separate sensory feedback from true performance to avoid injury and train intelligently. To find a supplement that delivers clean energy, start by examining the scoop size relative to the ingredient list. If the scoop is tiny but the product claims dozens of actives, the doses are likely too small to be effective. Look for transparent labels that disclose clinical amounts around 6 grams of citrulline and 3.2 grams of beta-alanine, for example. Prioritize ingredients that support blood flow, hydration, and focus, such as citrulline, betaine, and electrolytes, rather than relying solely on stimulants. Avoid formulas that hide behind proprietary blends or lean heavily on caffeine. Finally, pay attention to how you feel during and after your session. Sustained energy and smooth recovery are better indicators of a good product than the initial buzz. If you enjoy using stimulants, it's wise to keep your caffeine intake in moderation. A range of 150 to 200 milligrams per serving paired with L-theanine can provide alertness while smoothing out jittery edges. Another strategy is alternating high stim days with low or no stimulant days to manage tolerance. For evening workouts, choose non-stimulant pump products to avoid disrupting your sleep. Lastly, consider cycling off stimulants entirely for 2 weeks every few months to reset your receptors. These practical tips allow you to harness the benefits of stimulants while minimizing downsides and preserving their effectiveness. To wrap up, remember that energy is something your body produces through metabolic processes, not a sensation created by nervous system overstimulation. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors, which can provide a lift but builds tolerance quickly and may lead to dependence. Sustainable performance comes from ingredients that support blood flow, ATP production, and hydration, like citrulline, beta alanine, creatine, and electrolytes, combined with practice, nutrition, and rest. Choose supplements with transparent labels and clinical doses rather than chasing proprietary blends. Finally, emphasize calm focus and proper preparation. A controlled mind and body will always outperform chaos and jitters. Thank you for joining me, and may your future workouts be powerful and steady.